Hi everyone, this is Luis. When I was a child, I loved watching cartoons. And now I'm realizing how much of an activist and how much of a political thinker I am thanks to those cartoons.
Krusty Krab is unfair! Mr. Krabs is in there! Standing at the concession! Plotting his oppression!
Today we'll be checking an episode of Hey Arnold. It was one of my favorite cartoons when I was a child. It was a Nickelodeon show running from 1996 till 2004.
1, 2, 3, 4! We won't take it anymore!
Alright, let's get into it. So today we will be checking an episode from season 5. It's called Mr. Green Runs. I don't fully remember the episode because I was already a little bit older when this came out. But I remember that it was about Mr. Green, who is the butcher of the city, running against a city councilman because there is a pothole in front of his store and cars keep falling into it, but nobody's doing anything. He has complained, he has never been heard, and then now is the time for the regular guy to stand up and fight for his rights. So let's just watch it.
Good for nothing, Councilman Gladhead. I complained to his office again just yesterday, but nothing.
Did you talk to him in person?
Yeah, those politicians are always at lunch.
Well, it's 4.
Alright, let's stop there. It's actually very funny because it is 4:30 and he is at lunch. And then he's just gonna try because there are so many politicians that are just unavailable all the time. Let's just keep watching.
He's in a very important committee meeting.
Well, that was a very productive lunch. Always happy to help out a major campaign contributor like you, Mike.
So this is very interesting. He was actually in lunch, which was actually a meeting, but he was in a meeting not with fellow council members, not with anyone trying to solve actually the problems of the community. He was meeting with his campaign managers and with his donors. So his job was not to solve the issues that affected the community locally. His priority was just to get reelected. And I get that, I understand that, but this is a very interesting thing because normally you organize your campaign and everything, not in office hours, especially not with the excuse of you're having a business lunch.
Mr. Councilman, sir, you have some visitors.
Why, this is wonderful. A concerned young citizen and a local tradesman. It's a perfect photo op, Lorraine.
We didn't really come here to take pictures.
I've met so many people like that, people that just care about taking a picture, and then actually that becomes so problematic especially for politicians that they think or they call themselves career politicians, even when they haven't even held an office. They go to a place and then they just want to take a picture. And then this is a misconception because we always say you have to communicate and you always have to show on social media and you have to show presence and you have to show that you're actually being part or taking part of any activity in the ground. But just be careful with that.
Mr. Green, I promise you that in no uncertain terms that my comprehensive problem-solving committee will look into this pothole quandary in the most expedient time frame possible and make a comprehensive recommendation for the quickest possible.
So this is something that turns off a lot of people, even with good politicians. A lot of people, when they come to you, you don't have someone who is actually taking notes or is trying to pay attention. You're just trying to say something, but people actually notice when you are not taking a note. This case is specifically bad because he has a receptionist.
Now, I am off to a most important meeting, upcoming elections, 3 weeks. Vote Gladhead.
Okay, I understand. There are 3 weeks to the election and that's why he prioritized to meet with his campaign team. But he mentioned donors, which is a very interesting thing because you don't meet with donors at the end of your campaign unless that you're really bad on cash, which can happen. But normally you meet with donors at the beginning of the campaign.
Oh, wait, I'm just a butcher.
You can do it, Mr. Green.
Mr. Green! Mr. Green! Mr. Green!
Okay, I'll do it. I'll run for councilman.
This is one of these cases that I really like. These are genuine leaders. These are people who are not on the front line just willing for something to happen to them, for them to be the center of attention, but these are members of the community who have it in themselves to actually be loud, raise out some complaints, and raise up their communities. So this is very interesting and very important, because I do believe that everybody has it in themselves to take participation in political life. I do believe that everybody had it in themselves to lead their communities. So this is a very important lesson, because Mr. Green is an example that he says, I'm only a butcher. That doesn't determine actually his skills. And I really like when we meet in the road these kind of people that are genuine community leaders, and you will see a lot more traditional parties trying to get these people to join them.
Well, Mr. Green and Campaign Manager Arnold, I challenge you to a debate in front of our friends and neighbors. So how's next Monday night?
I'll be happy to debate.
This is traditionally what actually politicians like to do. Those who call themselves career politicians, they believe that because they have a little bit more of communication skills, they know how to speak on a microphone, they know how to learn a speech, instead of speaking from the heart, they think that they can actually over debate someone. And this is very interesting, because true community leaders don't care that much about debate, because for them the purpose of the debate is not to make the other wrong, but then to actually raise the problems and then to have a conversation and have progress. For those politicians like the councilman, it is just an exercise of, let me bring the other one down, and that's actually very, very bad for the political profession and for our reputation. They're actually doing what they're supposed to do. They are putting on signs. They are giving out leaflets. They identify the resources that they have as a community, and now they're going out and using those resources at the best way that they can. And I really like this picture that we had with Mr. Green giving a speech, because you could tell that it was a public speech. And this is very important, because many politicians try to actually make a forum and then try to say, oh, come to me. And the reality is that not many people will go to a politician to hear or to tell them their problems. Actually, it is in the interest of the politician to go and to meet the people. That's why you see door-to-door campaigns. That's why you see public forums in the squares. That's why you see leafletting, because it is up to us caring about social causes, political causes, to reach out to people. We should not be that arrogant just to wait for people to come to us.
The councilman's way ahead of me in the polls, Arnold.
The polls can change. That is actually true. Especially 3 weeks before the election. You never know what's going to happen.
Each tomorrow night, just say exactly how you feel about things. You know, be yourself.
I really like what Arnold just told him. Just be yourself. And this is a problem that many people, especially who are facing an incumbent candidate, they just panic, because they think like, oh my God, these people in the establishment, they have all these fancy words. They know how to speak to people. And then they just try something not to be themselves. But actually staying authentic is the most important thing for a social leader. But this is very interesting, because coming from Arnold, he's giving the best advice that he could give to a candidate. Just be yourself, because the more authentic you are, the more likely you are to be trusted by people.
As a member of the citizenry of this area, I think as a lifelong resident, we have to state no exclaimum in a loud cacophony. Stating particular subjects that impact the locale.
He totally forgot the advice that Arnold gave him. He's not being himself. He's just, and you see it, I mean, like, he prepared a speech, and you can tell that he prepared a whole speech instead of having like bullet points. I'm not gonna go too much into how one prepares a politician to actually give a speech, because the best way is just to have bullet points and then just to be genuine and speak from the heart. Instead, Mr. Green prepared a whole thing, and he's just trying to go word by word, and that's not gonna work when you're actually in the pressure of the stage. And no matter how pro you are, there's gonna be a lot of pressure. So I'm very sad that he didn't go for being himself.
What are you doing out there?
I took a chance using those big words, because that's what I thought the people...
There you go. He tried to be whomever he was not, and it didn't work out. People reacted badly.
They want to hear you just be yourself and talk about what you know.
What do I know? I'm a butcher.
You know a lot of stuff. You work hard and you run a business. Being a councilman is like running a business.
You just cannot be intimidated by public office or by your capacity just because you come from a humble background or you have a very limited resource to run a campaign. You just have to go about it because those assets are appreciated, and people can tell when you care about something, when you have a purpose, and people can tell when you're just interested in power.
I'm your butcher, but I also want to be your councilman. If you elect me, I will listen to everyone.
Emphasis on what he said. He will do everything that he can to listen to the people. And then people started listening because that's what people like. People like to be listened and people like to be engaged. This is not a reference to be actually a populism because populists, what they do is they pretend they're listening. And then Mr. Green is actually genuinely thinking that he can listen to the people. Very clever.
Mr. Green! Mr. Green! He's just a butcher! He's talking about...
This is so arrogant, and this tells you a lot of the type of politician that this person is. He's just a butcher. So many people actually undermine and they don't understand that the office of representation is nothing more than that. It's actually representation. It is not undermining the other just because of their background. This is very sad because I have met so many people like this, but then hopefully, you know, in the years to come, more movements, more new political parties that will, and then actually traditional parties that also wants to transform, they will be challenging this type of behavior because it's not acceptable just to undermine someone just from their background or their previous profession. Election day.
Hello? Really? Oh, thanks.
Oh no, I don't like the sound of that. You lost. Oh, mercy.
Actually, everybody, I won!
I don't know why I have this memory that he actually lost, but he won. That's really cool, and that sends an amazing message for a kid. I'm very happy that he won. I didn't remember that. This episode has so many important lessons. Number one, on authenticity. Number two, of what representation is. Number three, on I don't think that power corrupts people. I think that people corrupt power and the office. Number four, there are so many local resources, leafleting, signs, public forums that are well used. It is a great example for what a good, genuine grassroots campaign can be. And don't misunderstand me. I don't think that only grassroots organizations can run this type of campaigns. Traditional parties can also run these campaigns. If they do so, if they revise the way that they approach people, if they recruit these leaders of the communities, and then if we embrace actually that not only career politicians can do the job, but then anyone who is a leader, a local leader, and who knows the community can actually be an amazing representative. So I'm very happy that I rewatched this. Well, not to be cliche, but this cartoon was actually very socially engaging. But what did you think? I mean, leave me a comment in the comment section. Maybe suggest me which other cartoon do you think that had other political elements that we want to comment on. Subscribe and hit the bell. And just for legal purposes and copyright, because that's very important, the property of this cartoon is actually from Nickelodeon, and I'm just here to comment and then to give some educational background on how it affects us socially and politically. So I hope that you liked it. Subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. See you.